Hi everyone, Kate Berkner here today with Dr. Tom Phelan, author and creator of 123 Magic and the author of The Manager Mom Epidemic. Dr. Phelan, welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year on to 2022.
Indeed, and I think everybody is hopeful that 2022 is better than 2021. Definitely some challenges last year in terms of the ongoing COVID situation. And, we've seen Omicron surging lately. So hopefully everyone is staying safe, staying healthy.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's testimony to how adaptable human beings are. I mean, it's a pain in the neck, but human beings really are amazingly able to put up with stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I know that one of the topics that has probably been top of mind for a lot of parents over the last year and a half or so, as we've spent a lot more time at home with our kids and as we've had all of these external stressors, whether it's loss of a job, trying to do a job while also doing childcare, trying to be the sort of virtual teacher from home. Maybe you brought your kids home to homeschool, but parents thinking about sort of their own self-care and taking care of themselves. As well as thinking about independence for kids. So, Dr. Phelan, can you speak to, do parents at large have a good handle on both of these things?
Not at all. I think very, very little. Maybe it's a 5% or something like that. I think as goals for parents, kids' independence is not a goal. And I don't think taking care of yourself as a parent is a goal for many parents either. And the two are tied together, as you mentioned. But I think these are two really grossly neglected areas. And I think it causes a lot of damage in the short term as well as the long term.
So could you talk to us, starting with kids' independence, could you talk to us a little bit about what would it mean to have an independent child? Like, what would it mean to foster independence in a child? What would that look like in a child at different ages at home?
Yeah, you can think of it in a couple of ways. One is that the child would be a self-starter in some ways. So say you have a child who's 12 years old or 8 years old. Are they able to start their homework on their own without being asked about homework? Do you have a 4-year-old? Can they get dressed in the morning? Can they pick out their own clothes? And that kind of thing. There's a big law, great law in psychology says the little children or children in general want to do what the big people are doing. And we parents don't let them. And so if you had a child that was independent, they'd be dressing themselves, they're doing their own homework. And you might have a 9-year-old cooking a 4-course dinner for your entire family.
It. Yeah, that sounds great. So what are some of the challenges that parents face when it comes to both teaching more independence and being able to focus on their own self-care?
Yeah, well, the first challenge is that you can't do anything about them unless you think that they are a priority or that you set them a goal. You're even aware that there's a problem. We get up in the morning and we are so busy and rushing around with our kids all day that what we want to do is get the work done now and get it done correctly. And that means independent is not a goal. In your kids being self-starters and doing things on their own is not a goal. And the self-care, forget about it. Part of being a mom, as I mentioned in the Manager Mom book, part of the being a mom is self-sacrifice. Don't worry about me. It doesn't make any difference if I'm not happy. I've got to run this family. So let's get going here. And that's the attitude.
And to be clear, what you're saying when you say part of being a mom, you're not saying that part of being a mom should be that. You're saying that the way that moms perceive themselves and the way that society has kind of shaped moms to perceive themselves includes that as part of the identity, not that it should be.
Exactly. That's a good point. It's a part of what I call the mommy ID or the 10 commandments. One of them is self-sacrifice.
Absolutely. So, and you say when you talk about it, not necessarily being a goal or people not understanding, parents not understanding that a lack of independence in kids is a problem. I think even, we may be getting by just fine the way that we are, right? But to understand that there's sort of like this potential future where your 4-year-old does pick out their clothes and get dressed in the morning, and your 9-year-old does make dinner, and knowing that it will be a challenge to get there, but that once you do get there, that your kids are going to feel more confident, and self-esteem is a topic that I know you're going to be doing a seminar on tomorrow. And you're going to have a little bit less stress. You're going to have a little bit less on your plate to do, once the kids have kind of learned those skills and owned those things and really taken them on.
I think so. I think it can really be transformational, not just a little bit, but a lot, and so on. And one of the other problems, back to your other question about, we don't see this as a goal. That's the big problem. The second problem is we haven't the slightest idea how to accomplish the goal of self. We don't know how to take care of ourselves, and we don't know how to help the kids become independent. But you're absolutely right. If we could do that, if we could envision that and come up with the methods and techniques, our lives would be so much better. We'd enjoy our kids a whole lot more, and we as adults would be so much more healthy physically and emotionally.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, and I know that you've put together this really terrific quiz, a great sort of quick 5-question quiz that parents can do to sort of see where they fall on the scale of basically parental supervision, right? You mentioned one of our biggest challenges to sort of having kids' independence as a goal, and one of the biggest barriers to finding sort of the time for self-care as a parent is that we think that things need to be done right now and that they need to be done correctly, right? So you've got this great 5-question quiz, and we'll send that out in our email this week. So if you're not signed up for our email list, head on over to 123magic.com and do it. But that will allow parents to very quickly, under a minute, I would say, figure out how much parental supervision are you doing and how much space do you have to be able to help grow your kids' independence.
Yes, and I will warn parents right now, I think some of the questions may seem stupid to you. So if I ask you a question, and the question is, do you ask your child over age 9 if they have any homework tonight? I'm saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's a problem. It seems like a normal thing to you. Do you have kids who do regular housework jobs like cleaning, laundry, and stuff regularly every week? Well, that may say, no, my kids aren't doing that. I'm supposed to do it. Seems like a dumb question, doesn't it? Well, that's part of the problem that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the mindsets that we as parents have that can kind of stand in the way of us helping our kids gain more independence and finding some of that time for ourselves. So, once you kind of figure out like, where am I at in the scale of sort of parental supervision and what opportunities are ahead of me, Dr. Phelan, can you talk about some of the things that parents might be able to do to start fostering more of a sense of independence in their kids in a way that helps kids to feel really empowered?
Yeah, there are a number of things that can fall under the category of letting go. So one of them is going to be, you're going to have to learn how to talk a lot less than you currently do. And what I'm going to suggest, we won't get into it today, but we'll get into it later, is an experiential exercise where you and your child do a meal together and you go shopping together. But there's a catch. They are the leader and you are the follower. And you will learn so much from that exercise about yourself and about your child. And that will help you lead the way toward getting into other things where the kids can be more independent, like homework, bedtime, and so on and so forth. So the first thing you have to do is learn, how am I shutting them down right now? Kids want to do what the big people are doing. How am I shutting them down? You're shutting them down by asking them if they have homework tonight. That's a bad thing to do. Okay, and I know that sounds crazy, but we'll get into that more later.
Absolutely. So, then I think, I think that my kid would get a kick out of, having a meal and going grocery shopping and them being the one in charge,
Yes.
and me sort of being like, nope, you're in charge. What are we doing next? How do we do this? I think that she would think that was really a lot of fun. So it's not, none of this is to say that what you're doing now is wrong necessarily. It's just what you've been doing. And there's a set of things that you can do to kind of like make your kid feel more empowered and give you some more time, and it can be fun too. I think a lot of pieces of this could be a lot of fun.
I think so. And you used a phrase there that I think is almost the heart of the matter. They would get a kick out of. That's what we don't let them do, because we don't let them lead. We don't let them be independent. They get a kick out of being independent. And that phrase, get a kick out of, is that's right where it's at. That's the heart of it.
Yeah, it's fun, and I think that's positive reinforcement for the behavior in and of itself, right? They're associating a positive feeling with being in charge, with owning this piece of, whether it's grocery shopping or, I know, just personal example, the last 2 days, my daughter has come in the morning and she has picked out her clothes for the day. She's packed the bag that she's going to take with her to daycare. Like, she's ready to go, and she's so proud of herself for having done that.
That's
And
right.
that is really fun to see as a parent, to see her really feeling good about herself for
Yeah.
having done something on her own.
Yep. And how do you get that feeling into bedtime? How do you get it into homework? How do you get it into cleaning? How do you get it into up and out in the morning? That's exactly it.
Absolutely. Well, terrific, Dr. Phelan. This has been really great. I know that you are going to be doing, like I mentioned, you're doing a seminar on self-esteem tomorrow. And then next week, you're going to be talking in your seminar format about kids' independence and how you kind of foster this sense of fun, foster the sense of independence. Where are some areas you can focus? How do you start talking with your kids about that? What kind of challenges you might run into and how you overcome those things. So if that's something that you're interested in going deeper into as a topic, please make sure you're signed up for our email newsletter. Head on over to 123magic.com. We'll be sending out registration links for those seminars, and we'll also go ahead and post them on our Facebook page here. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.